The community through gospel. The new 107.9 FM, W300EB, Macon, and WDDO 980 AM, Perry, Macon.
The views expressed on this program are not necessarily the views of Glory 980 Glory Media Group, LLC, WDDO AM, its staff, management, or advertisers, but are the views and opinions of the participants of the broadcast.
Mother Georgia, she's back on live, the historic 980 WDDO. All of a sudden, let's go live into the studio with our host, Brenda Sutton.
And hello.
Hey.
Girl, ain't it wet out there?
I was so nervous. I thought I was going to be running super late. It is pouring down in Warner Robins, and I came from Warner Robins today.
Oh, get out of here. But that's because you got that fabulous car in those new tires.
Is that what it is?
You got to go on, girl.
Well, thank you.
I love your car.
Thank you.
I'm just kind of miffed because I just want to let the listening audience know that Emily has never taken me in her car.
You know what? Brenda has all kind of issues. So I'm going to get you in that car soon, real soon.
Because I love your car.
Thank you.
I think it's just real cute. It looks like you. It looks like you.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a fabulous car. And you know, you've got some really nice amenities in there. I bet it's got a lot of safety features and stuff like that.
It does. You know, Jimmy knows a little bit more about all the added safety features and stuff like that. But yeah, it got a lot going on in that car. I'm not a car buff or car fanatic. I saw that car 3 years ago. I think it was 2019. I think it was. Yeah, 2019. And I had been stuck on it ever since. And I had to work my way up. And I finally was able to get the car that I wanted. So, yeah.
Well, our call-in number today is 478-250-1444. Is it another? Did I do leave out a 4? It's
1444. No, you said it. Yeah.
If you can put it in the comment section, Emily, that'd be great because you can type faster than me. I done broke my nail so that they can call us because I really want them to call in today because we have some great
very good topic today.
Mm-hmm. And and look at and the one that need to talk about it ain't here.
He out there. You know he got to make his grand entrance.
Wonder why he does that?
Because he want everybody to be looking at him.
You know, that's how Papa do. He come in, sweating and everything. And
act like he just got such a busy life. And, we just all
what life?
Are honored to be in his presence.
Oh, you know it.
Right, yeah.
So
I'm going to put, I think the host, he put it in there, but I'm going to put it in there also.
Yeah.
The call-in number.
Yeah. And I want to thank, and while I'm on it, because I didn't give him enough props the last time, because Henry's office is almost open, Emily.
Oh, really?
Yeah, his office is almost open.
Okay.
And it's going to be, it'll be a home office and really a remote office so that he'll Zoom with a lot of his clients.
Mm-hmm.
So with this COVID, and I realize people like, oh, Brenda, the COVID has gone away. No, COVID ain't going nowhere.
Well, the numbers have decreased drastically. Here in Bibb County, they've decreased. It's still out there, but it has decreased drastically.
But I think it's because Henry had it,
mm-hmm.
And so it does scare him. So I'm just saying, and let me just say that it was a lot of herbs and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Where I gave him that shot of vitamin C. So. And just different mm-hmm. things that you did, that you told me to do that I did for him, the zinc, the elderberry, all of that,
mm-hmm.
all of that really helped him.
Mm-hmm.
So, but he is going to do a lot of remote office work.
Okay.
And then we do electronic signing. So Henry is going to be here
mm-hmm.
in Macon. And so
I know you're loving that.
I love it. We're selling a house down in Albany.
What?
Yeah. Girl.
Also, he is making the big plunge. He is definitely here. Made him a Maconite.
Yeah, he's selling a house down there. Hadn't put it on the market, but we've already got a realtor for it. And if Greg Williams sometimes will be on from Camilla, his wife, Letha. Is our realtor, and so there he is. That'll be selling it. But I also want to put a play out, Leah, put out here that my house.
Thank you, sir.
My condo is up for sale too.
Oh, still.
Well, I put
Thank
it.
you.
Someone said that they wanted it, and then it kind of fell through.
Mhm.
So
I wish I could afford it.
Isn't it a great condo?
Yes.
It really is, and
I think it's a great condo for someone for if you don't have children.
if you don't have children, and it was just
Yeah.
too small
I
for
don't.
us. It was just Yeah, you do. You got
Pop,
one.
Pop, how you doing,
Hey,
Pop,
hey,
Pop?
wait. Pop. I thought we had a little girl. We need to be looking at. You ain't did that test yet, right?
Yeah, you're supposed to help me with it.
Oh, and look, they're matching today. They both have on purple. What's that about?
It's the Sandersville connection. And then,
I mean, I have on burgundy, but
we're
that's
cousins.
not
It's
close
in the
enough.
same family.
You know what though? I really think that Johnny and I are connected. I was just like, I would be sick, which goes through, you really know who your relatives are.
Genealogy.
Yeah. But get out of here. But I was just telling him I'm really happy about Henry, opening up his office.
Oh, absolutely.
And so he'll be doing a little work. I don't want him to do a lot of work because, I won't ever see him if he does. But
Oh, you spoiled? You one of those kind?
I do. I miss him when he's working real hard.
Okay, say that again for the people in the back so they can hear. Say that again. When they working, you be what?
I miss him.
They don't understand that. I tell Raymond that all the time. I'm like, I miss you.
I really do. And the thing about it is that Henry's in his office, in the house.
Don't say nothing,
See,
Johnny.
which is
nothing.
a segue into our show.
Raymond,
Yeah.
listen,
look.
no, let me just say, Raymond,
Uh,
Henry, both of them are about to ask you for something.
we want something. Oh, so it's a setup. That's what they're trying to say.
It's a setup.
I don't never have to set Raymond up. I just ask.
I don't ever have to do that.
What I
See,
want.
that is we're going to talk about people who have never been married. And they old.
Mm-hmm.
When
Hey, Steve.
when they get home tonight, ask Raymond, you ask Emily, and Henry, you ask Brenda to clip your toenails.
I would do that.
Oh, no.
But I would do that.
Mm-mm.
But I need on some safety glasses if I do.
So
I
now,
need
so
some
now
safety
they're
glasses.
saying it's going to be like that singing from Martin.
They lying.
With the chainsaw.
And then when you cut those nails out, go, But no, seriously, we wanted to have a conversation, which we really have two things, but we figured that we've got like a whole hour.
What's up, Steve?
Which is, I have a lot of friends who are unmarried, females. And
Let me ask you this:
What?
These are they the ones that you're referring to that are unmarried?
correct.
Have they been married?
No.
Okay.
They've never been married.
Mm-hmm.
And so a lot of times, and the reason why I bring it up, because a lot of times people think, and they'll say, well, something must be wrong.
I got a lot to say about this. We only got an hour, dang.
Some must be wrong with it.
Johnny gonna be real quiet this hour.
No, Johnny may have something to say because
Oh no, he always got
that's
something
what
to
I'm saying.
say.
But something must be wrong with them if they ain't got no husband or wife by the time they get to be a certain. That's why I put like over 45, because I was like, people say they do say that. They're like, why is it that they don't have? And it's like they got domain or something. They got some.
I can tell you one huge reason why.
Okay.
I think it becomes an issue the older you become. Let's say 45-year-old woman, she's typically set in her career. She knows what she wants, she knows what she likes, and she makes all the money that she needs to make. She can take care of herself, buy herself whatever she wants. The only thing typically lacking is that companionship. So I have a couple of friends, but one in particular, I'm always fussing at her about this one thing. It's this checklist, right? And so the women have a checklist, and the guy has to have, this and this and this and this and this and this. And so I'm constantly telling my friend, sometimes you may have to alter the list or just throw the list out altogether, because that list is actually what keeps you single. Sometimes the Most High will put some of the most wonderful people in your life, but you are so busy trying to look at what they don't have that's on your list,
All
you miss
right.
everything that they do have.
Yeah.
So you end up being 45 and single, then 50 and single, and you keep asking yourself, well, why can't I find the right guy? It's because the right guy's there. You just aren't looking at him for all the right reasons.
And what hey, I got that. It is, but I do know that a lot of people, and I'm gonna put Johnny out here. Johnny, how old are you? I'm gonna put you on
He's
front.
61. Right?
I am.
And you know what, Johnny, you were the one that when I thought about this,
44 years together and married 40 years.
Because he's 66, right?
Yeah,
Steve?
right. And they were like dating. They could have been dating before they were married.
Yeah.
So that's why you got 44 years. Because sometimes people live together before they get married. But you were one of the ones I thought about. I mean, really, when I was thinking about the topic, I said, Johnny, and Johnny, I don't mind. I hope you don't mind me saying this.
Oh,
Johnny was taking care of, who did you take care of? Was it your mom and your dad?
My father
Your dad.
had Parkinson's disease.
And for how long did you take care of your dad?
Well, that went on for about 10 years.
And so that was, so sometimes people are single for a long period of time.
But
that's not an
I
excuse.
came home from what I had developed and was in the process of my life's being, from college to this is what I'm going to be and do, till what my mother died in the process, and I was the oldest, and then I came back home then, and it's like I could never get out because I had younger siblings, and for that reason I came back home and just never seemed to. My baby brother was 6 when my mother died. I was 18. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna hang around till he graduates high school. But from all that time, it kind of disconnected me from a lot of the reasons that I thought it would be easy for me to come home and leave because of a lot of the connections I had built at that time. They kind of, life happens. So some of the people that you were in constant concert with, you're no longer in constant concert with. So those connections you lose. And then along the way, some of the desires that you have sort of kind of take the back burner, and you don't do the preparatory things to be above normal in those aspirations. So there's a lot of different variables there.
And I say that because, he would be a good guy. You know what I'm saying? But just look at him, you can say, well, I don't know what's wrong with Johnny. Johnny can't keep a girlfriend. Or Johnny can't, every time I see Johnny, really, am I lying, Emily? People say that. Don't they say crazy stuff like that?
They do. I mean, and people, we're all, I think, inquisitive by nature, nosy, if you want to be honest. And we don't know a person's story. We don't know, why they're single. But the truth of the matter is typically, if they have been single up until later on in life, some would say that there's definitely some issues there. And I tell my friend all the time, she laughs and I laugh, but I'm serious. It's something wrong with you. Like, and you really need to analyze what's going on in your spirit. Like, you keep saying you want to be with someone and you really, really want somebody, but she comes across she came across a really awesome guy, and it's every time I talk to her, she's finding something wrong. Things that I would consider like, oh, that's okay, that that's fine. Like, stop worrying about that.
Like an example of what?
Well, he doesn't have enough time for me. Oh, okay, you're not 20 something years old. You're grown. You're 43.
That's right.
He's 47. So y'all both have a busy life. I mean, do you really want him in your face 24/7? And I was like, her expectations are unreasonable.
Okay.
Is basically what I'm saying. It's completely unreasonable to want him. Like, she's the type of female, she wants him to call her, 4 or 5 times a day.
Okay.
It's unrealistic.
It's unrealistic. Johnny, now, are you a telephone person or a texter?
I rather talk to you.
Okay, so you would call. You don't think it's a problem calling somebody 2 and 3 times a day?
No, 4 or 5 times.
4 or 5 times a day.
It's kind of what you're calling them for.
But if you just, some people,
But just to be calling going, what are you doing?
Yeah, that's
Nah,
so annoying.
I'm not with
and
that.
it is. But you know what though, Emily, you said a really key point when you said this. When you said you 40-something years old and you expect for this man to treat you like you a teenager.
Right.
I mean, he a grown man with a life. I put this out here because I see this. And I have some friends and they do have a checklist of what it is that they want. First of all, they start counting his money.
Or the number one thing.
They count his money.
That's the number one thing.
Here you go.
That she's doing.
What you do. Okay. So that's the first thing. What you do. Then it's like, well, then if they start with those checks, then they start like they do add up their money.
And this is and it's important. I won't lie and say that your spouse's or your potential spouse's income is not important, but I always look at it like this: if he can fully take care of himself, and that he's he's taking care of himself, he has his own home or apartment, has his own car, he's paying his own bills, and everything is is good. Like obviously he has enough money to take care of himself, and this is the key: you have enough money to take care of yourself. So why do you want him to have enough money to take care of you and him? If you guys are building a relationship and essentially you're going to move in together or marry, then both of y'all's income together will be more than enough to sustain the household. So that part kind of confuses me. I'm like, but he's already taking care of himself. So you want him to make his salary plus your salaries. Is that because you want to use him? Are you in it for the right reasons?
Or have they been conditioned? See, one thing I've noticed is like we're quick to say that television and those kind of things and social media influence children and the way that they think, or things that they hear repeatedly influences a person in the way they think. And I know for a fact that over a few generations, one thing that is a common thing that women do in the women's community, the elders or whatever, say to women, my money is my money and his money is our money. And that encourages that kind of thought process that you were just discussing, in my opinion, that women, this is not uncommon. If any woman pretends that they've never heard other women say that, they're kidding themselves. Women say,
I've heard it always in a joking way, but not.
Women say it with frequency that my money is my money, his money is our money. And that might be saying jokingly, but it subconsciously enters into the way that they think. And then with the thing about, because today's topic was like, what's wrong with people over 45? There are so many variables. They're going, like, one of them is, it is very rare to find a woman over 40 that doesn't have at least one kid. Very rare. And it is very hard, especially when they got boys. It don't matter, boys or girls. It's very hard they don't like to confront it a lot, but it's very hard to establish a relationship with a woman when you got to be establishing a relationship with her and her kid. Because along with the kid, with the kid comes the kid's father. Along with the kid, not only comes the kid's father, but the kid's father's father, the kid's father's mother, or the kid's father's brother, or the kid's father's sister, or the kid's father's cousin, or the kid's cousins, and all that stuff. Right. So it's a whole lot more to it than just finance that discourages relationships from moving into marriage, in my opinion.
I will agree with that, because I tell Jimmy all the time that, and he's 20, is about to be 23, and I tell him all the time, and I know this is terrible, but I'm just gonna say it. I was like, I really don't want you to be with anybody with children. I want you to find, and he's young enough now where he can find.
Think there's anything wrong with
no. I'm saying for mine, because I'm a female, and I know.
But you know what? Realistically, though, see, a lot of women are having children, and they ain't babies now. They when I say baby, they not 16, 17. It's some children, it's some women out here in Emily, 30,
Yeah.
31.
My friend is 37
32.
and decided like, oh, I'm gonna go and have a baby. And I'm like,
Well, she's young.
No,
but 37 is not young
but you don't
to have
have
a baby.
husband.
But you can't tell her she's too
No,
old to have a
my
kid.
point though
Yes,
is,
we can.
my point is, you go have a baby,
I don't believe that.
Johnny. You go.
That's because you're not a woman.
That's right. But you go have a baby.
But her body might be different from a lot of other women.
I don't care.
She might have a body that's ready for that.
My nerves bad. I'm raising my grandbaby right now, 7 years old. She weighing me and Henry out. You hear me? Wearing us out. We ain't had it for 2 months, Emily. She killing us. Now, when he said that about the children, it made sense. Because I'm like, oh, if you have never been married and you don't have any children, and then you walking into a relationship with some egghead children, because see, first of all,
what if you got kids and then you meet a woman with kids? See, I don't want it to be just a relationship where one person has kids and the other. Right. I'm saying, so now here comes this guy. He's gonna be with this woman and he loves her. But then the kid is 7, 8, 9, 10. And then the kid's biological father does not believe in spankings or certain kinds of punishment. And then this guy does. And so all of these variables have something to do with why maybe it's hard for people after a certain age to get married.
But that's the conversation to have, because I really hadn't thought about the children variable. But I'm just saying to you that even it is interesting. It needs to be a conversation, because so many people in this that I know, and I'm like you, Emily, I know them. They got, some people ain't got 3 children, 3 different daddies and things like that. You're not going to find, and help me, Jesus, because I may really get kicked off the air for this one. It's going to be hard to find a good man if you got 3 different children by 3 different baby daddies. Now, I'm just telling you.
Okay, well, I would agree that your odds are going to be very slim.
You're going to have to get you an old man with no teeth.
But what about the guy? But what about the guy who's got 5 kids by 5 different women?
But a woman needs to run. She need to do this. If you run across a man that's got 5 children, never been married, 5 different
and got 5 baby mamas, you need to go.
You need to run, because the majority of his check is caught up in child support. Now, I'm serious.
Well, it's deeper than the child support, though.
But what if he's a guy who is financially stable? See, everybody that has 5 kids, about 5 different baby mamas, ain't struggling.
That's why I said it's not about, for me, it's not about the financial thing. There's a problem there, because that means you have a massive issue with commitment. If you have laid down with 5 different women and produced 5 different children, they weren't all one-hitter quitters, right? So you were messing around.
You must not watch a television attorney court. It takes one time,
sir. And you in 5 days, so that means that's what I'm saying. You're irresponsible, but that means you're not strapping up,
and you don't, and you fear commitment. But what and you're absolutely correct.
I ain't lying now.
That's why I'm bringing that out, because I have seen some, and I said they ain't babies. They're not like 16, 17, 18. We're talking about women who know better.
Right.
When I say know better, when you're 37, for example, and you say, okay, you can do whatever you want, by the way, because I know you're grown. But when you're 37, you say, I just think I'm going to have a baby. So you go and you find somebody to have a baby with. And that person is not in your life, have no intentions of being in your life, and really don't know he been tricked. Okay, because there's going to be some trickology going on there.
Excuse me, what's that word again?
I ain't gonna say.
Trickology is what you said.
That's it. I made it up.
I'm with it. I mean, words get made up every day.
Yeah, we got to start having the bill here again.
By the way, but
I know I need to go get it out the car.
You know exactly what I'm talking about, because women still play that trick, a trick of the man with a baby. So they go out and they get this baby at 37, and this is one reason. Hey, Johnny. That men and sometimes don't want to go to relationship, because women lie. Now this is what they'll say: I really don't want a relationship. I just want to have a baby because I just want to have a baby. My line, Emily, and they mess around and they get that child. And when they get that child, then what? Then they want something with longevity. They didn't want no. They claim that that's what they want. They claim that they just wanted a baby, but at the end of the day, they want more than a baby.
Well, and I have someone that I know, and same exact scenario. And sometimes they think that by having the baby, hey Sheila, they think that by having the baby, that will make him go ahead on and propose. That'll make him go ahead on and say, okay, let's get married. And quite often it backfires.
It does.
And especially when from the beginning of the relationship, they said, I do not want children.
That's right.
And so the woman goes into the relationship, or the man goes into the relationship knowing up front, I don't want any children. I have no plans to ever have any more children. And that's fair if you tell your partner that. And the partner says, you know what? I don't want children either. But 10 years passes and now all of a sudden you've changed your mind. Now, 10 years have passed and you've been solid on this point that you do not want children. Both of you agreed for 10 years, no children. And all of a sudden you change your mind. Now you have a right to change your mind, but you cannot get upset when that other person, when your significant other says, no, you know, I didn't want this. We went 10 years without doing this. And then all of a sudden oops, oh man, I'm pregnant, babe. And then he's like, whoa. I don't want this.
And then not only that, and then get mad when the guy is not excited about this new baby because he didn't want that baby.
And and again, there goes the checklist. You have to, when you going into these relationships, I believe when a man tell you, I don't want no kids, believe him. Listen to him when he tells you this is not what I want. And as women, I think that we're subconsciously trained that, with our trickery, with our, cuteness, our good looks, our flirtation or whatever, how to get what we need or want out of a man. And oftentimes it's like, he'll tell you, this is what I want. This is what I need.
Right.
And then we have our own agenda. And we want what we want. So we think that we can change the man. We think we can change his mind. We think that, I'm the one that'll make him change his mind about having children. And I'm like, no, you need to listen to that man. If that man tell you he don't want X, Y, Z, then listen to him. And it goes both ways. If a woman tells you this is not what I want, you can't marry her and think that you're going to keep her barefoot and pregnant in the kitchen. That's not fair. And that's why a lot of relationships end up, ending really quickly because it's like, no, we set the boundaries from the beginning. And again, people are allowed to change, but if your partner is not willing to make that change, it's not fair to hold him or her to that to that standard
and then
or to that obligation.
And then what we'll say is something wrong with it. See, it's something wrong with it. Because I done been with him so many years, and then he don't want to get married. And he know I'm like this. Well, first of all, you shouldn't have even been with him all them years.
There you go.
See, if you out there listening, you been with somebody, and I don't know, Emily, I would say in a year's time, you ought to know.
Depending on your age, absolutely.
Let's say at 40. Let's say at 40. If you've been with somebody for a year, you ought to know whether or not you want to be with them the rest of your life.
Yeah, absolutely.
At 40. And if you don't want to be with them, tell them.
Or just move on. Stop wasting each other's time. Excuse me, because once you hit 40, you ain't got an extra 3 or 4 years to be wasting on a person. Like Jimmy, I tell you, he got time. He just, in his early 20s. Like you got 2 or 3 years to mess with this one, 2 or 3 years. You have a little time to decide.
Right.
But once you hit 40, you ain't got 5 years to give somebody. And I think that men, I know my husband tells me this all the time. And my dad used to tell me this. He was like, a man knows within the first 6 months, he knows whether he wants to make you his wife or not.
You know what?
And within that first couple of years, if he doesn't ask you, then that means that's just not what he wants at the time.
He's not ready. And I'm bringing this up because then the first time he says, something wrong with, no, ain't nothing wrong with him. He just don't want you.
Well,
and that's real talk right there.
Responding to your initial thing about it today was after a certain age group, right? Because it's really about like
40, 45.
Right. I think another reason why Because I think there's a lot of different reasons why. But I think another reason why is once you've gotten to be 40 or 45, you have lived enough life. Now, if you, I hear you all saying, in 6 months after you're 40, you ought to be able to know whether or not you want to marry somebody. So you're telling me that you can gather that much information in 6 months. Cool, gotcha. So in 40 years of living, or 45, then you have watched enough actuality of marriages. You have watched enough. You might have this idealism and this romanticist idealism about marriage. But now when you were 20 and 25 and 30 and 35 and 40, and now you're 45, and not the reality, the actuality of what you have experienced is watching folk who are married, who are in the church, who are in their, wait a minute, who are supposed to be the pillars of. They're such a wonderful couple and just always regarded in the highest esteem. And now you're old enough that you've seen these folks who people and everybody regard as this perfect union, that that both of them cheating on each other all the time. And so now you got this tainted outlook on marriage, because in your mind, even at 40, you still, the part of you says, when I get married, I'm going to be married to my wife. I don't care what happens and what I did before, because I'm going to respect marriage. Forget the wedding part, the marriage. But then when you've watched all these people and put on all these pedestals who are married and who are in these upstanding positions and all, it sort of gives you a downward look at it, and it takes away some of your enthusiasm about marriage, because the same people that people are honoring and respecting for being married, celebrating 25 years, celebrating this and that, and that they run around here cheating on each other all the time. So you just kind of, your view of marriage becomes tainted, because you wanted to be married for the purity of being married, that we become one, we don't cheat on each other. You ain't just got my back, I got your front and your side too. And so when you've watched that so long, I think that discourages people when they've gotten to be a certain age from getting married.
Oh, wow. Now, you know what?
Do you think that monogamy is as you say, an actuality?
I think that.
Do you think that it's realistic in the 21st century?
For where we live and the vows that you take in this country, mainly, I'm a Baptist, I guess. But I'm really just kidding, because I'm really about spirituality, but I believe in God. And I believe that if I got married, I'm going to get married on those same vows my mom and dad took. That in sickness and in health, and rich and poor, and all of that, then I feel like if I get married, I'm not supposed to be, it's not all right if I get married and I go have an affair and go cheat. That's not all right. It's not acceptable for me, in my way of thinking. It's not acceptable, because it's the 21st century, that it's all right now for me to have a concubine, or for me to cheat. I don't think that's what marriage is. It is not that.
Right. But
and it
shouldn't be.
It shouldn't be.
But I'm saying, you keep saying, do I believe it exists in the 21st century? I don't care whether it exists or not. That's what I'm looking for.
But
no. I said, do you believe in monogamy? Do you
Yes.
believe that?
Yes.
In,
to answer your
realistically.
question,
So
yes.
yeah. Okay.
But the question I would say to you, though, the response I would say to you is simply this: if you're you can't look at other people and what it is and how they have their whatever their relationship is, because their relationship is unique to them. I've learned I've looked at other people's marriages, and it is what it is. You know what I'm saying, Emily? I don't look at these people that have what they would call the ideal marriage. You know, Michelle Obama used to tear up, Barack, because he didn't have the kind of job it took him to pay for them student loans. She went off on him about that. So, I mean, I don't know. I just think that in looking at it, and I can understand though, Johnny, why a person may not want to get married. I can understand that.
Well, there's a whole movement. That's why I asked you guys a question or posed a question about monogamy, because there is literally an entire movement going on in this country right now where you have the millennials that are deciding, you know what, I don't want to get married. I just don't
So
want to
how
do
old
it.
are the millennials?
The millennials are actually start from 40 and go down.
Okay.
So yeah, they start at 40. Although when I was born, they were
what do you
calling
call
me
the
Generation Z.
45-year-old people?
That would be Generation Z.
So
I mean, I'm sorry, Generation X.
But the thing was about the Generation Z today, then, right?
Today is the millennials.
No, she said over 45.
Right, that would be the Generation X.
Generation
X.
X's.
So
Now,
Gen X is 45 and up.
pretty much. Because because 80 is a tail end of
the baby boomers.
But 80 is like the ending. Let me see. Would be because my son is a Gen X,
right?
And then my daughter is a millennial.
So,
but
I'm saying the 45-year-old person is a baby boomer.
No, I'm 45. I'm 40.
No.
I'm a baby boomer. I was born
yeah.
in 57.
If you
I thought
are,
you said it ended in 80.
No. She said that. That is not what I said.
Okay, so when
Generation Z would be 70 to 90. 70. I'm sorry. 60 to 80 would be Generation X.
That's what
80
I just said.
to 2000 was Generation X. 80
we need to look
to I had this memorized down pat, but my generation, I literally am literally at the cusp of a millennial. So even though I'm 41, I'm considered a millennial.
You are a millennial because
but when I look at Jimmy Nim,
I
consider Jimmy Nim's generation to be millennials, but they're actually Gen Z.
Yeah, but they're not a part of today's conversation. So what I'm saying is, what generation is if you are 45 years old,
that would be today, Generation X.
Gen X, that would be Gen X.
Yeah. So that's the one we're talking about.
By the way, but
Gen X and up is what we're talking about.
And see, the thing about it is Gen X, you like Gen X and up, it would be, and then the millennial really is on the cusp, is what she's saying. You can be a millennial and kind of blended.
I consider myself a Gen X because when I was born, when I was younger, that's all they would call us was the Gen X. But all of a sudden they come up with, oh, you're a millennial now. And I'm like, okay, whatever.
But I'm saying, but you're not 45.
No.
That's all I'm saying.
Right.
So
you just want to make it clear. Let me just say,
I'm just saying 40, it says 45 and over. Over 45.
By the way, but I brought this out because I do know that people look at people when they're single. They say, "Ooh, something must be wrong with them because they still single." I'm like, no, ain't nothing wrong with them. There are reasons why these people are single. I mean, and there's some of them are legitimate, and some of them is.
Well, the question that you posed essentially for today's topic was, if you have been married 3 or more times, is it something wrong with you?
That's the next part.
Yeah, because it was, do you think something is wrong with people?
Two questions.
Two part. Okay.
Do you think something is wrong with people who have never been married and are over 45?
Now that was the first one. We didn't talk about that. Now the next one is, if a lot of times people have multiple marriages, which makes them serial polygamists. Okay. Folk don't want to hear that right there. Woo, don't run off the road. Woo.
But
trichology and polygamists.
If you've been married more than one time, it's serial. Not all at one time. It's serial. Like one.
So that's a good question, Johnny. What are your thoughts? If a person has been married 3 or more times,
right,
do you think it's something wrong with them? And when I say wrong, I don't mean like they have a mental disorder or anything.
No.
I'm saying, do you think that there is a personality issue there? If you have tried to commit to 3 different people, do you think that there's something going on there?
No.
But you know what?
Tell me why.
Because I've seen good folk marry a person who put on a great show, and
there you go.
that person turned out not to be who they presented, and then divorce them because there might have been domestic violence and anything going on.
Mm-hmm.
So you got a divorce.
Mm-hmm.
Then you married the next guy who came to your rescue and made you feel safe. And then turned out he didn't beat you, but he was stealing all your money and cheating on you. So then you divorce him.
Okay.
And then now, you know, here comes somebody else. And then, you know, because you're a person that believes that you want to be married.
Mm-hmm.
There are some people who are not going to have sex
Mm-hmm.
unless they are married. So then now she's been divorced twice, or
Mm-hmm.
he's been divorced twice. And now if they want to ever have sex again, they're going to have to get married again.
Mm-hmm.
And so they reach out and pray to God and hope he sends somebody or however they go about it. And then somebody comes along that meets that standard, and then they get married the third time.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then maybe that third time was the charm. Or then maybe it takes 4. Who knows? But if that person is intent on being married, you know, and they keep running into these crazy folk.
Okay, I feel you.
I'm just saying.
Feel you. And I agree with you partly. Hear me out.
I hear you.
There's something wrong with you. If you had a terrible relationship the first time, you managed to attract another terrible guy the second time, and the third time you attract a terrible guy. It's something wrong with you.
It could be a terrible woman.
Or well, either way,
Let's make
right?
sure, because
well, either way, just hear me out. Either way, whether it's a male or a female, if you're attracting bad people multiple times, you need to go to counseling. You're attracting the wrong type of person because there's something wrong with you.
But you know what now?
And when I say it's something wrong with you, there's childhood trauma, there's psychological trauma, there's something going on with you. The reason why you keep being attracted to people that are not good for you.
Now, typically you will attract people who mirror, you know, like what's going on. So you really, no, Johnny, you really need to check yourself now.
Johnny, I have been in personal counseling and I've been in marriage counseling. I'm telling you what I have learned from actually going through the process. When you keep attracting the wrong type of people to you, there's something going on with you. Because there's bad people everywhere. But if you just happen to keep finding these grade A bumps, right? y'all can fill in the blank, but you keep attracting these type of guys. There's something going on with you. The reason why you say, you know what? I don't see none of the red flags I saw in Billy in Johnny. Let me see what Johnny doing. And so I got all the red flags that was in Billy, and then all the red flags in Johnny. I leave Billy and Johnny alone. Then I attract Tommy. Tommy got all. So there's something going on with me. The reason why I haven't matured enough to see that they had that same red flag. He got that same red flag, and it's called an empath. It's a thing that we have where we want to go into, and we feel like we want to save the person. Like we're the ones that can fix Johnny. I can make Johnny a good guy.
Yeah, but today so far is chickenology, plagiarisms, and
plagiarism. You messed up. I said polygamy.
Oh, polygamies, and what else?
What's that word you said?
What did I say?
It's called an
something.
Oh, an empath.
Empath.
You know what?
Empath.
Oh, yeah. Now that's a real word. No, Brenda is making up words. Empath. What I said is a real word.
Chickenology. Polygamist.
Right. And an empath.
An empath. So,
but
get your
empath. EMPATH. Empath or empath.
I agree about that. I'm just saying these are other variables. There are so many variables.
And we can have conversations.
To this question.
But you know, the thing about it is, and one thing you said was, when I was single, I had a list of all the things I wanted in a man.
And she used to talk to me about this list. Right. Now, and what did I used to tell you all the time?
Now let me just
say it out loud. Say it.
I ain't gonna say it. What you say?
Throw that list out. That's why you single. That's why you old and single.
She did. Now, really, I was single. I've been divorced since 1997.
She's older. She's not old.
Well, I mean, we talking.
Know what it was. Seriously, putting all jokes aside, while I was not what I would call a career single, I had been divorced for 20 years, and I went back to school, got myself together, so that I could take care of myself, because I thought it was really important to be able to do that. So I'm like, I had my own career, I had my own house, I had my own car, I had my own money, I had all of this, but what I did not have was companionship. And she is absolutely correct. When I got rid of that list, okay, because one of the things I would say, well, I ain't gonna date nobody with multiple marriages. I ain't gonna do that right now.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, whoop, that's gone. Because that was a lie. Because I met, oh, we got a phone call. Hello, Paul?
Good
Huh?
morning. Good evening.
Good
Good
evening.
Have a question. I'm just going to ask a question. What if you've been at the altar 3 times and all 3 times of getting to get married and it was a problem? Where is the problem then?
I don't think I understand your question. Explain your question a little bit more.
If you was engaged and you got to the altar 3 times to get married, and every time you got to the altar, the person didn't show up.
The person didn't show
Where
up.
is the problem?
Oh, you. That's simple.
But you know what though? Now see, let me tell you what the problem is.
The problem is
she
that
lied.
person.
No, she lied. And I would say it's twofold, because one, what Emily talked about was the person that's been left at the altar 3 times did not see. He was not discerning enough when
It could have been the guy that was left at the altar.
It was a guy. I'll get out of here. But it is because he could not see what the real truth of that person was, because he kept attracting the same person.
Let's have him clarify. Was it a female that got left at the altar 3 times, or was it a male that got left at the altar 3 times?
Female.
Okay, so a female was left. She literally got left at the altar 3 times. The problem is her then.
Because she's not seeing. She didn't see the guy.
No, the guy. He's saying that the guy did not show up. Like, you got in your gown, you showed up to the altar to get married, and he didn't show up. You got jilted 3 times.
Was it the same guy?
Which is what I'm saying to you, though.
No, different guys.
They're different guys.
See, it's her. The problem is her.
But she doesn't. She is attracting the same type of guy. She is attracting the same type of guy.
Or did all 3 of the guys finally realize she was a lunatic?
No, they left. And so
I agree with Johnny.
Y'all are bad.
I'm just saying.
There is another.
You are absolutely, bringing, and I appreciate you bringing this up, and I feel very sorry for her. Now, what I do hope is she gets some counseling, because she needs some counseling.
I don't think he was talking about a real person.
It may not be, but we don't know. But she needs
counseling. It's a real person. It's a real person.
And
trust me.
How does she look?
Johnny.
We're going to forget Johnny, because Johnny's trying to
Thank you.
We're forgetting.
I'm just saying.
No, but this person needs counseling.
Yeah, there's something wrong with her. If 3 different men didn't show up on 3 completely different occasions, the issue is her. It's not those 3 different men. The issue is her for sure.
And she's attracted.
What are the odds that you got jilted at the altar 3 different times? No, those men were like, you know what? No way.
So she's attracting the wrong guy. We've got another caller. Thank you so much, caller.
Yes. What's the gentleman's name on your panel?
Johnny.
Hi, Johnny. Being a man of your particular age, do you see yourself married? Because it seems like you have a lot of opinions on marriage, and you never been married before. And if so, or if not, why?
Okay, ask me again.
Being a man of your particular age, you have a lot of opinions on being about marriage, and you're not married. Do you planning on getting married? Because it seemed to me, you said you know who it is. I don't know you. You don't know me. I'm watching you on Facebook. I'm not. This is my first time calling into the show. May I ask you a question? Do you planning on getting married?
Sure. I was raised in my mother and father were married to do their death, is what ended their marriage. All of my mothers and fathers' siblings were married, and all of them that are still alive are still married. And the only ones that are not married, death is the reason why they're not married. So I come from a culture of marriage and stick-to-itiveness with the marriage. So it is in my DNA to be married. I have a whole lot of different reasons that I have come to have to accept the reasons that I'm not married. But I think that I shall continue to pray, and I think God is leading me down that direction now and towards that very fast. But I also have to consider that I'm not the only one in this decision-making process.
But I think that in bringing it out, I go back to that calling the 3 times, because I know that I myself.
But is the other caller? Did he answer your question, or did you want him to elaborate any further?
Right.
No, he's not going to answer the question. He gave me a whole dialogue.
I did answer the question.
No, that's right. She said you didn't answer the
I
question.
did answer the question. Yes, I want to be married. I've always wanted to be married. That's what the culture that I come from.
So why have you never been married?
Because I guess up until recently, I hadn't met that person. I think that perhaps I have now, and I'm going to see what happens.
Okay.
All right. Caller, did that answer your question?
Not really, but we will accept his answer because it seemed like he was getting upset.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you
caller.
so
Thank
much.
you.
Appreciate you.
Bye-bye.
But what my hope and prayer, in doing this, I'm just saying, I hope we answered your other caller, the caller that called in about the 3 women. The woman who left at the altar.
Yeah, he never did ask me. I asked him how she looked.
But because that's trivial.
No, it's not.
No, it really is trivial, because if she was at the altar, then that means that looks was not a part of the conversation. But
or we could assume that if somebody proposed to her on 3 separate occasions, 3 separate men, we could assume that she was at least decent looking.
Right. So that didn't have.
We could just assume.
That didn't have anything to do with why she was left.
Did she look like a crazed killer?
No. It's really for this. See, I feel sorry for her. Because number one, the woman has paid for the marriage. She's paid for the ceremony. It is it is embarrassing.
That's crazy. Yeah,
it is embarrassing.
Ooh.
You think about it. I've never experienced that. I don't want to experience that, but to have a wedding day, you think about it, because you've never been married, but you have all your friends and everything up there. Have everybody sitting out there, and your man don't walk up. And you got to get up before those people and tell them you may want to go on home, because there is not going to go back there and get you a plate, because there's not going to be a wedding today. And it happened 3 times. The reason why I say that there's something wrong with her, not like, like she's certifiable, but she needs to do a soul excavation, look into herself, see what's going on, why she's attracting these nobody losers, because obviously she's attracting some mess.
Or we can even look at it in a different light. Maybe it's that she's not necessarily attracting these losers, these guys. She's attracting the guys. The guys are attracted to her.
And
she's putting on a falsehood. Maybe they're realizing at the last moment, you know what? No, I don't want to be involved in this woman because she bad, blank, blank, blank. So we could look at it from that.
Hence the craze.
Not at the altar. I'm saying that sometimes, you're sitting the night before, because I've been there, and you're contemplating, you're thinking, what is this what I really want to do? Is he the guy? Should I go ahead on and go through with this? And, my dad at the time was living. He said, when literally he had my arm and hand rather, and we're getting ready to walk out. He said, if you want to turn around and walk out of this door right now, baby girl, we can do that. He said, you do not have to walk down this aisle. Are you sure this is what you want to do? I said, yeah, Dad, I'm sure. I said, I'm good. This is what I want to do. So, for that to happen to her 3 times, for a guy to say, you know what, I'm not going to show up. It's something wrong with her.
And the thing about it is, I'm sure that she's a good person, because there's something about her that is persuasive enough
to get a man to marry her.
To get a man to want to marry.
Well, yeah, want to marry her.
So when you say, like, she's got something going on that she can convince somebody to commit. But when it's time to final up, you know what I'm saying, to close out the commit, they're not doing it. I feel bad for her. I pray for her, because I can't imagine, at my wedding, if I had to walk down to get all the stuff we did, and then Henry not show up, he wouldn't have showed up no other wedding, because I'd have killed him. Yeah, doggone it, I'd have messed him up. I'm trying to cut
this
them
is the
ties
comedy
up
part of the show.
I'm trying to tell
We're
you,
just teasing. Like, I make a lot of jokes and tease, and Brenda took her turn as a comedian just then, because she was only kidding around.
Well, I wasn't but kidding. If Henry had left me that altar, I'd have tore him up. I'm trying to tell you. He's real.
Well, Henry
talk.
wouldn't have done that. He loves
Henry
you.
did. Henry loves me. And my point, and I'm going to say this, something that someone said. When you meet somebody, when I met Henry, the day I met Henry, I knew he was my husband. The very second I met him, and we have never looked back. So we didn't contemplate.
What's not for me and Raymond were the first ones to meet him, right?
That's right. Emily and Raymond were the first one. Henry took us out.
We went to Rookery. Mm-hmm.
And Henry loved on me then, and he has not stopped loving on me. And we never questioned. We didn't question stuff, and we made.
But I did. I asked Henry. I said, "You sure?" I said, "You like her for real? You really like Brenda? Like you like her, like her?" He said, "Yeah." I said, so far so good." I said, "Really? You really like her like that? Like, do you know?" Okay, well, Brenda, don't mess this up for us, because he don't know you, didn't I? I told.
And by the way,
you don't know her like I know her.
By the way, and she always tell me, "Do not mess this up for us." Honestly, she says, "Do not mess this up for us, Brenda. Do not." I don't like this.
Well, Henry's a great guy.
But the thing about Henry, and I'm saying this, is that Henry was imperfect. He was perfect for me, but he was imperfect for a lot of people. And if I had kept that list, like Emily, because one of the things on my list, I ain't want nobody with a big stomach. Now I got a big stomach. That's the truth. I ain't gonna tell no lie. I said I didn't want nobody with no big stomach. I did. I didn't want that. He got one, and I love it.
I know. He precious.
But I'm just telling you, you shaking your head, but that's real talk.
I'm praying.
Well, that checklist, that bottom line, the checklist that I tell chicks,
Right.
everything that you have on your checklist for a man, you should be able to meet that as well. If you want him to have 6 figures, you should have 6 figures. If you want him to have his own home, you should have your own home. If you want him to have 2 cars in the driveway, you should have 2 cars in the driveway. You can't come to somebody halfway full and expect him to be 100% full and think you gonna benefit him. You're
That's
no
right.
benefit to him if he gotta drag you along, or if he gotta pull you up.
And then not only that, if you're the one who's making the money, okay, because you may be the breadwinner. He don't need to be the breadwinner. He just need to be able to take care of himself.
Support person.
That's right, and take care of himself. All that nonsense about, he got to. Well, I'm blessed. I'm not going to tell a lie. I do have a really good guy that's able to take care of us. But I didn't need Henry to do that. We might have stayed in that little apartment we was in, because that's what I had. But I'm fine with that.
Are we supposed to be talking about this picture he has up?
Oh, what picture he have up?
That looks like that's New Edition, isn't it?
What picture? Let me see. I can't see it. Wait, that ain't New Edition. Who's that on the end?
That is New Edition. What are you talking about? That's Bobby Brown.
Is that TD Jakes?
And on that note,
but do leave the radio show people knowing that I am a person who has long since wanted to be married. I've never wanted to be alone in this world.
The main thing with him over here, he's a male chauvinist. I'm gonna put it out there for him, and all you gotta do is cook a pot of collard greens. So if you looking for, I'm just saying, you want to get with him, cook him some collard greens with boiling meat, collard greens, boiled meat, fry a little piece of corn, fry him a little piece of cornbread. Ain't that right? That's all he needs.
So I can eat it with my fingers.
Because he's real country.
And be able to make roast beef and potato.
That's right, and give him some lemonade.
You better know it.
Then he just as happy as a pig in slop.
Listen, y'all, we love y'all. We will see y'all next Monday. Wonderful show. You guys can always reach out to us on all of our social media platforms. Call in if you need to, but share this video. We love you guys. Bye.
I'm a one-woman kind of guy.
Oh, please. That's not true.
Yes, it is.
It
Too.
is not.
Yes, it is.
You are, Johnny.
You've been listening to All of a Sudden. Join them every Monday evening from 5:30 to 6:30. All of a Sudden with your host, Brenda Sutton. That's every Monday. We'll see you there.
The views expressed on this program are not necessarily the views of the Glory 980 AM, the Glory Media Group, LLC, WDDO AM, its staff, management, or advertisers, but are the views and opinions of the participants of the broadcast.
Connecting the community through gospel. The new 107.9 FM, W300EB, Macon, and WDDO 980 AM, Perry.